Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching or listening to another edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. This episode is centered around Delhi elections, which are to take place in February. My guest is Baijayant Panda from the BJP. Baijayant Panda is from the BJP, a national vice president and spokesperson, member of parliament in the 15th and 16th Lok Sabha from Kendrapada, and also member of parliament in the Rajya Sabha for 2 terms. He's again a member of parliament from Kendrapada in the 2024 elections. Now he's strategizing for the BJP for the Delhi election. Thank you, Mr. Panda, for coming to the podcast.
Thank you.
There's a lot I want to talk about elections 2024 and Odisha, Odisha. But I think this podcast, let's discuss Delhi elections because you're in charge now. So I want to know what was it like in the earlier election and this election, because both you were the brain behind the election. What did you do in the last election, and how are you correcting the mistakes of the last election?
Well, actually, we had such good progress that we are taking the work forward. So I was in charge of Delhi earlier when we had the MCD elections in 2022.
Okay.
And we set a new record in vote share. And we are taking that same approach forward much more intensively. So let me explain.
Wait. Vote share only? So this time it's not just vote share, right? You want to go more than that?
No, we'll be forming the government.
Okay.
But the point is...
How?
Well, by increasing the vote share. So traditionally, back in the day, we used to form governments in the 80s and 90s with about a third of the votes. Now, that was an era before we had the benefit of Prime Minister Modi. And that was the era of coalitions all across the country. Now, in the last 10 years, our vote share has continually gone up. And in the previous assembly elections in 2020, we got 38% vote share. And in the MCD elections, we got 40% vote share. What's even more important is that this Apda, this disaster which has overtaken Delhi for the 10 years, used to have a large lead, mainly because of so many false promises with which they hoodwinked people. That lead used to be in double digits. But in the MCD elections, that lead came down to barely 2%. Now, once again, in the Lok Sabha elections, we won all 7 seats. We won well over 51% of the vote share. And with recent elections, with our successes in places that no one expected, like Chhattisgarh, like Odisha, and especially now Haryana and Maharashtra, there is a tremendous positive atmosphere. Our Karyakartas are charged up. And most of all, the people of Delhi, I think they've had it up to here with fake promises, which we can talk about at great length. They've given a chance to Congress in the past. They've given a chance to this disaster for the last 10 years. I think they now want to give a chance to BJP to set right and take Delhi in the right direction.
Mr. Panda, you're saying that the Karyakartas of Delhi are charged up. Mostly, what one is seeing is they're charged up when in front of you, probably, or they're charged up on TV debates. But on the ground, it's the Aam Aadmi Party which is extremely aggressive. They're doing their door-to-door. So even if there is, which seems like it, because lots of people are talking about it, that there is an anti-incumbency. Obviously, after 10 years, there are people who are saying, Vikalp kya hai, Vikalp kya hai. They are looking for alternatives, but alternatives ke liye door-to-door karna padta hai. Are your people going door-to-door? Because I have not encountered people going door-to-door.
You will not encounter them in studios, but let me tell you
They are in studios.
No, let me explain how the door-to-door campaign is going. Yes, the Abda people are desperate and they are aggressive. And most of their campaign is actually in press conferences. Because when they are going door-to-door, they are not getting the response. Earlier, they used to get a certain response because they made certain promises. They've turned out to be fake. Today, they are getting confronted by people. So they're trying to divert the discussion from the condition of the roads. They're trying to divert the discussion from not having cleaned the Yamuna, not having cleaned up the pollution. They're trying to divert the attention from the terrible water which nobody can drink. Now, let me explain what we have done. I'll give you an example. So for 6 months now, BJP Karyakartas, this is just one of the many outreach programs we've been doing. So for 6 months, we've been going to the Jugi clusters. And every week, religiously, not just Karyakarta, all our top leaders, MPs, MLAs, the state leadership. And they're not just going, visiting and coming back. They've been going and staying the night, empathizing with the problems of the poor, empathizing with the conditions in the Jugis. There is a tremendous shift in the mindset of the people who've been taken for a ride in those communities by the Apda. Similarly, we've conducted thousands of street corner meetings. We've conducted thousands of outreach programs with women, which are called drawing room meetings. We've conducted thousands of what we call Yuva Chaupals. And then we have already done several door-to-door campaigns. And over the rest of the campaign, you're going to see a massive outreach because we've made some very important commitments. And our commitments are something which are implemented. We can talk about this more at length. But for example, the Apda people have been promising financial assistance to women. They did it in Punjab 3 years ago. They cheated them. They promised this in Delhi 3 years ago, cheated the people. They promised the people of Delhi in December, when there was no code of conduct, they could have started the program, cheated them again. Our track record is wherever we have committed. Now, for example, DBT, financial assistance to women, we've committed, and this is Modi Ji's guarantee. People know that if a commitment comes from the BJP, if it is Modi Ji's guarantee, it will be implemented, like Ladli Behan in Madhya Pradesh, like Subhadra Yojana in Odisha, similar programs in other states. So this guarantee, we are now taking door to door. This has been announced in our phase 1 of the manifesto release. We've just had phase 2 manifesto release. So these guarantee cards are going to be distributed door to door. Work's already started. It will reach every home.
Okay. You talked about the Jugi Jopadi, the shanties, for those who don't get it. The people who live there have traditionally voted either Congress or they voted Aam Aadmi Party. The shift happened from Congress, it went to Aam Aadmi Party. Your traditional vote base, I'm not going to say vote bank, but your traditional vote base for the state has been the middle class voter. The middle class voter now says the BJP does nothing for us when it comes to taxation, GST, all those things. Of course, everybody pays GST, but does nothing for the middle class voter, has not done it. So the middle class voter moved away from you post Sushma Swaraj, Sahib Singh Verma, Madan Lal Khurana, no BJP government out here. The middle class voter is left nowhere. He voted or she voted for you every single time when it came to the central government, but does not have any faith in your local leadership. Now they see that not just have you abandoned the middle class voter, you're now going to the Jugi Jopadi area. See, it's all a competition, right? I mean, the middle class voter says, हमारे लिए तो कुछ किया नहीं, अब जा रहे हैं जुग्गी झोपड़ी में, वहाँ पे लड़की बहन योजना, they are going to the Jugi Jopadi area, they're trying to take away. So who is your voter and what is the middle class voter which is traditionally voted for you? What do they hope for now?
So there's a lot of conflation. You've given a lot of information. Let me unpack some of that information. Now, we can talk about what Modi ji has done for the middle class nationally and in Delhi. And I think that's a whole different subject. You know, having made, we've again turned the country around into high growth rate, which the ball had been dropped by the previous government before Prime Minister Modi came into government. We can talk about the high growth rates. We can talk about the job opportunities, the startup environment. We can talk about many things that have been done for the middle class, but that's a whole different topic. But you have raised some important points concerning Delhi. So let's address that. The reality is, many people back from 2011 were quite intrigued with these Apda. They were quite intrigued. They thought it was a breath of fresh air. They thought it was a different kind of politics. And it turned out that this is the crudest, worst form of the worst kind of politics we have seen before. During COVID, for the leader of Apda, then Chief Minister, to be building a Sheesh Mahal, a palace for himself, when he had sworn on his kids that he would only live in a 2-bedroom flat. For him to have conducted scams which have now come out in the CAG reports of more than 2,000 crores, liquor scam, classroom scam, for having run the institutions into the ground. The Delhi Jal Board has had thousands of crores of scams. No audit has been submitted in 7 years, and people are forced to get this really dirty water. If you drink it, you'd get typhoid. Now, I can go on and on. The middle class, of course, has had it with these scamsters. The middle class is totally upset. Look, you and I can relate to all of this, especially on the way here to your studio. It took me a lot longer than before. Because in the last 10 years, the Delhi government has not built public infrastructure, not built public transport infrastructure. The DTC has only about a third of the buses that it requires. As a result, the streets are overcrowded with private vehicles, two-wheelers, four-wheelers. Anything that used to take 15 minutes now takes about 45 minutes. Now, it's a mess. The middle class is extremely angry with the Apda's fake promises and their corruption scams. They definitely are backing BJP to form the government. But, when you talk about the slum clusters, when you talk about women, yes, you're right. In the past 10 years, because of fake promises, what used to be a divided opposition vote had all agglomerated into this Apda. And they used to have this double-digit lead, which is why there was a differential result. In Lok Sabha, we used to sweep the elections, and in the Vidhan Sabha, we used to be behind. But as I have explained a little bit earlier, from being double-digit behind to having come to within 2% of them in 2022 in the MCD elections, now we have pulled ahead of them. And we are going to repeat what has happened in other states around the country. When Modi ji became Prime Minister, the talk that we should target more than 51% votes was considered a joke by some people. It happened. It happened in states first like Gujarat. It happened in other states. And then it became a challenge that, all right, that's at Lok Sabha. What do you do at Assembly? It started happening in Assembly after Assembly, many different assemblies. And now it is Delhi's turn because you see the trend. You see the trend over the last 10 years. Now, to conclude, the answer to your question is the BJP does not cater to vote banks like Apda or Congress or others do. We seek to attract everyone. We reach out to every section of society. It is not either or. Just because we are reaching out to the Jugi, Chopdi, slum clusters doesn't mean we are not reaching out to the RWAs. Of course we are reaching out to the RWAs. We are reaching out to professionals. I can give you lists of thousands of meetings we have had, small, medium and large, with all sections of society. We've had them with professionals, doctors, chartered accountants, lawyers. We've had them with teachers, auto rickshaw drivers, cab drivers, domestic workers, you name it. Literally, lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of people have been met by BJP leaders and karyakartas. So it is not an either or. We are seeking everyone's vote.
The Jugi Jopdi areas, the unregularized colonies, those which don't have basic necessities, had hoped that the Aam Aadmi Party will regularize them, will provide them with clean water, sewage, all these things, sewer lines, all that. Not happened. Now, most of them are either Muslim or Dalit background areas in the Jugi Jopdi areas. Many of them, I think a certain very heavy percentage. Muslims don't vote for your party, by and large. How can you convince them? It's still not happened. It's 11 years since you were in power at the center. It's not been in Delhi. Can you come to power in any state without the Muslims voting for you? As a state election, not the central election.
I think you've asked a very important question, and I think it's worth looking at the Modi government's track record. So over these nearly 11 years, literally hundreds of billions of dollars in lakhs of crores of rupees have been spent all across the country on different government schemes, government yojanas, whether it is Har Ghar Nal Se Jal, that is piped water to every household, which was a dream for decades. I can give you many other schemes, Ujjwala scheme. I can talk about Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana, which is the world's largest food aid scheme to 800 million people.
Awas.
We are proud of Awas, exactly. More than 35 million houses built for the underprivileged. Now, we are very proud of one track record. You cannot point to a single example of discrimination. The Modi government, and we have double-engine governments in so many states, there is not a single case of discrimination that somebody has been discriminated on the basis of religion or for any other reason. So, we do not connect our governance to our appeal for votes, okay? But the fact is, in seeking votes, we seek the blessings of all sections of society. Now, the point that you made is actually quite a bitter truth. that the Apda, and I keep referring to them as Apda,
Yeah.
because they are
I
not
didn't correct you. There's no point.
they are not the common man's representatives at all. They are a disaster which has been foisted on Delhi, which people are dying to remove. Now, you're right. The Apda pandered to these votes. They had a vote bank approach. They pandered to them and they've cheated them. They think they can just buy the votes and they don't have to do any work. And I'll talk a little bit more about how cynical they are. The more facts and data that come out, the more people get sickened with how cynical they are. Tens of thousands of crores of rupees of Modi government money are on offer, which they are simply not availing, despite strictures from courts, because they think it will give more popularity to Prime Minister Modi, who's already the world's most popular leader. So what has happened is, because of this vote bank approach, ask the auto rickshaw drivers what all they have been promised. Ask the Purvanchali population who revere water bodies like the Yamuna for their Chhat Pujas. This Apda former chief minister, who has been promising every year to clean up the Yamuna and take a dip in it to prove it, has been avoiding it year after year after. Last time around he said don't vote for him if he didn't clean the Yamuna. Well, he hasn't cleaned the Yamuna and they are not voting for him. So the point I would like to make is, let's separate governance from the appeal for votes. But in our appeal for votes, again, the approach is the same, that we are reaching out to everybody. Our governance track record is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas, or Sabka
But the
Vishwas.
Muslim population still doesn't have confidence. And two, with Rahul Gandhi campaigning about संविधान बदल देंगे, संविधान खतरे में है, it had an impact in 2024 general elections. Do you think that resonates still with?
I think you're raising some very valid points. Now the point is, I think essentially you can see the pattern, whether it is the Congress or whether it is Apda, how they have fooled the people. By making fake promises, for example, of saying that they will set right the conditions in the slums by laying the sewerage lines and water lines, which they simply haven't done, or in Congress's fake promises and fake allegations about the Constitution. So the reality is the people have already tried Congress for 15 years here. And the Congress is putting up a fight for its survival. The reality is whether they fight in alignment or they fight separately. We have been at the Lok Sabha level getting far more than 51%, winning all the 7 seats. And our trend in Vidhan Sabha has been increasing. This time we have pipped them. We are getting ahead of them. So the reality is very simple. When somebody from the lower economic strata living in a slum cluster, despite 10 years of promises, fake promises, if a poor person has to buy water from the tanker mafia, they have limited disposable income. If they have to buy water in bottles just for daily consumption, you can imagine the anger that they have. The auto drivers, the domestic help who saw in these fake people a ray of hope, and they have been cheated very badly. They've all made up their mind that this time it must be BJP for another big reason. Despite all these other reasons, the other big reason is that they want conflict-free governance. They don't want daily drama. They don't want daily accusations. They don't want to see that while Bharat is progressing, it's already become the 5th largest economy. It's headed towards the 3rd largest economy. But Delhi does not look like the capital of the world's 5th largest economy. It's seen no development, especially in the last 10 years.
You don't need to tell me that. I live here. I can see that for myself and
Just getting into your studio from just outside, you see the conditions.
That big gaping hole. It's unfair that I'm bringing this up, but it's a month. And there's no way that anybody will do anything because everybody is busy with the election. कोई tender नहीं pass होगा, कोई ये नहीं होगा, कोई वो नहीं होगा, बस अटके रहो. And I feel bad complaining just about a gaping hole, but it's a risk because there's a school 100 meters away and it's at a U-turn where there are school buses which come. So it's a hazard where every day we just pray that a school bus doesn't fall into that gaping hole because there's that sharp U-turn which happens out there. Anyway, but besides this, I want to come to the part about which you talked about, conflict-free governance. Now, what the Aam Aadmi Party and their supporters, what they say is that this is a kind of a blackmail tool used by the BJP in all states that to tell the people that either vote for us and double engine growth, and if you don't, then you're going to have so much conflict because we will not let a non-BJP government function in this state. How do you see?
I'll demolish that argument in 1 minute.
Sure.
Okay. Now, the Apta government has not been availing of some 75,000 crores of rupees of funds being given by the Modi government. A large part of that is infrastructure funds for medical infrastructure, for other public transport infrastructure called Abhim. And they are simply refusing to sign the MOU and take the funds. They've got a stricture from the courts. And they are going to courts to resist having to take that money because they think Prime Minister Modi will become even more popular. So this directly contradicts that fake allegation. Another great example is Ayushman Bharat, the world's largest healthcare program. And only 2 states are not availing it. One is West Bengal and one is Delhi. Now, Delhi government is broke for the first time in history. The Delhi government is broke. And because they are not taking these funds, they are trying to spend Delhi government funds on various activities, like they've come up with this so-called Sanjeevani program, when there is already thousands of crores available. My point is, how come other states, which are not governed by BJP, are taking these funds? All the states are not governed by BJP. If you leave aside West Bengal and Delhi, why are other states taking these infrastructure funds? Why are other states taking the Ayushman Bharat funds and giving it to the citizens? So this directly goes against this fake allegation that there is non-cooperation. The people of Delhi are fed up. You know, everywhere we go, we keep hearing this one thing. अब बहाना नहीं चाहिए, बदलाव चाहिए, भाजपा सरकार चाहिए. Because too much drama, too much bahana all the time.
That I get about too much of drama. I think the Aam Aadmi Party came with a very dramatic and drama-filled entry into state politics. Not just state politics, I think into politics as such. And the drama element continues all through. And I guess it's also that that revolution style politics where a drama is necessary, whether it is going and sleeping with the Razai in front of Vijay Chowk or what they did with the Anna movement that they did. So it's that's part and parcel of how Aam Aadmi Party does their politics. Not that your party is not doing a lot of drama.
No, there's no comparison. We do not misuse. You know, if you today ask Anna Hazare ji, I think everybody knows he was misused by these people as a representative to gain credibility, and see how they have treated him. We have certainly not treated our heroes badly. We have certainly, in fact, the heroes that were neglected by other parties, Dr. Ambedkar, Sardar Patel, these have been given their right due in our historical perspective, in their historical place by the BJP government.
In fact, that's one thing that the Congress is very worried about, that you appropriate their heroes. And I mean, they were originally Congress, and now they're terrified that even Dr. Manmohan Singh, you've anyway appropriated in recent times, you've taken Narasimha Rao and made him your hero. You did that with Pranab Mukherjee. Ab Dr. Manmohan Singh ko bhi aap appropriate kar lenge, to what will the Congress do?
Look, the fact is that they may have been with the Congress. They all had certain contributions to India. Now, we may not have been in political agreement with everybody at all times, but they had certain contributions. It was unconscionable to treat them so shabbily. Everybody knows how Narasimha Rao ji was at the helm of the turnaround of the economic revolution, which has turned India away from not only decades of poor economic performance after independence, but centuries of colonial rule. For him to be treated so shabbily, everybody knows how his body was not allowed to be taken inside AICC headquarters.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how Pranab Mukherjee was denied his rightful due, all because it would threaten the dominance of a particular dynasty, of a particular family. Now, the BJP, do you know something? At all our important meetings, whether it's the national executive or whether it's our state meetings, whenever we have major meetings, one of the things we do is condolence. We start the meeting with condolences for important people who have recently passed away. And we condole people irrespective of their party affiliations. When Dr. Manmohan Singh recently passed away, we started our important meetings with condolences for him. Because we believe in Bharat, we believe in India. People may have different political perspectives, But those who have contributed to India in some way, they deserve respect. And it is Congress's fault for treating them shabbily because of their own vested interests for one dynasty. We have no hesitation in saying that even people who are not directly associated with us but contributed to the country, they deserve respect and we will give them respect. Now, you can't say the same thing when you said that drama is done by all parties. You cannot compare to the kind of drama that the Abda people did by using Anna Hazare as a symbol. Today, they dare not go before Anna Hazare because, he does not speak kindly about them. Similarly, these Abda people, they raised hopes in people, in the public, that they would be a breath of fresh air. But they have been the worst kind of scamsters, fraudsters, if you look at their track record. Let me give you a challenge. Now, for a few years, they used to go around saying, what was it? That they were Kattar Imandar. Okay? Now, I dare anybody in the media to describe them as such and look at the response that your readership and your viewership will give you. They themselves don't use it anymore. Because if they call themselves Kattar Imandar, they are going to get confronted physically by the public on the roads. Because Kattar Imandar people don't have gold-plated wash basins and millions of rupees worth of toilet, bars in their homes built in government money, dozens of high-end Bose speaker and audiovisual systems, after taking an oath on their own children that they will live very simply and in two-bedroom flats.
Their accusation is that your party also is occupying several Lutyens' homes where similar kind of ostentatious living is done, but it's just that...
This is bizarre. Listen, all government accommodation is for temporary use by people who are there. Certainly bars are not built in any of the houses in Lutyens, Delhi at government expense. Certainly bars are not built. Certainly no gold-plated wash basins or toilets worth millions of rupees are built at government money. It's simply not done. It's just another fake allegation to get away from the fact that they have been caught red-handed. Now, they do a different level of drama. The people of Delhi have had it. They've had enough drama. They just want simple, conflict-free governance. The way that not only where we have double-engine sarkars, double-engine governments, but also in states where we don't have BJP governments and Modi government schemes are being implemented on the ground.
Okay, you mentioned that that there was this Tricornered Contest and you have pipped the Congress and gone ahead of them.
No, we've pipped the Abda.
Okay.
The Congress is a much smaller party. So, Congress is a much smaller party. They are, as I said, they are putting up a fight for their survival because...
in a Tricornered Contest, it would have been that the non-BJP vote would have got split. But since the Congress is barely campaigning, we are not seeing, I think there's only one rally that Rahul Gandhi has addressed till now, and he's done one walk besides a nala. There's no sign of Priyanka Gandhi, there's no sign of Sonia Gandhi, there's no sign of Kharge, Pilot, any of these bigwigs of the Congress. Nobody seems to be campaigning for the Congress party. DK Shiv Kumar was called in one day, but we're not seeing anybody other than Sandeep Dixit and Ajay Makan. Nobody is doing it. So what I want to know is there some kind of a tacit understanding that though they have not done seat sharing and they are saying we are fighting the election separately and they are attacking each other, but the fact that it's such a puss of a campaign is actually meaning that it's Aam Aadmi Party that they are supporting?
That could very well be, but let me first...
Some Noora Kushti between these two?
I'll come to that. I think the more important thing to point out is that we are targeting 51% and more. And like I have explained a little bit earlier, the trend certainly supports that we are getting there. Look at the trend of the votes we have got. Leading up to the last example was, of course, the Lok Sabha election, where we got 56% of the vote share. But even in local elections, we went up from 32% gradually all the way up to 40%. And they have come down from above 50% to about 42%. There was a gap of 2.5%. Now, we have pipped them in the meantime because since the MCD elections in 2022, but little more than 2 years ago, their leaders have spent many months in jail. They have, people when they go into jail, again the fake drama starts that this is BJP done and all that. You know and I know that bail is not granted by any party, nor is it granted by government. It is granted by a court, by a judge. And the norm in India, bail is the norm until and unless there is prima facie evidence of major crimes and they need to be kept in jail until the witnesses have all given their statement. Which is why, because these people are notorious for influencing witnesses, they were kept in jail. Some of their leaders were in jail for nearly 2 years. Some were there for a year, many, many months. The CAG report has come out. The Sheesh Mahal extravaganza has come out. And people are fed up of their fake promises. So they don't have that allure anymore. You can see that when they go on the ground, they are getting accosted by people. They don't have that allure. So my point is this. We are targeting 51%, as we have targeted in the Lok Sabha and succeeded, as we have targeted in the assemblies in many states and succeeded, and as we have been targeting in Delhi and gradually getting there. The trend is entirely growth-oriented for the BJP in the last 10 years. So we are there. We are getting there. And as I've said, the people of Delhi have decided to give us a chance. They've given a chance to these people and been taken for a ride. Now, when it comes to the Congress and the APDA, look, they have sometimes contested openly together, like in the Lok Sabha election, and been roundly beaten by the BJP. All 7 of our candidates won with the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, in whom people have immense faith. Now, similarly, whether they have an official alliance or they have some kind of understanding, it makes no difference because they represent the same school of thought. They represent vote bank politics. They represent appeasement politics. They represent non-development politics. They represent the philosophy that votes can simply be bought and that you can give fake promises and get away with it. Let's take manifesto, for instance. Until the last 10 years, all other parties, they have traditionally issued manifestos. Nobody has held them accountable as to how many of their commitments they have actually implemented. Even media didn't take them seriously. Neither do those parties take themselves seriously. I can tell you for a fact that over the last 10 years, the Modi government has implemented more than 99% of the commitments we have made in our manifestos, the Scalp Patras.
In the other states, you mean?
No, nationally. Nationally.
Okay.
So nationally, if you take the 2014 Scalp Patra and you take the 2019 Scalp Patra, more than 99% have been implemented. Similarly, you can take the 2024 Scalp Patra and give us 5 years, you'll see them being implemented. Let's take, for example, Odisha, my home state. We formed the government there about 7 months ago. And we've already implemented about 70% of what was committed in our Scalp Patra. Now, this doesn't get much play, but it's happening. People of Odisha are experiencing it. So, if in 7 months, we have implemented 70% of the Scalp Patra. So, to come back to your question, the people of Delhi have seen Congress for what it is. They've given them a chance in the past. They've seen APDA for what it is. They've given them a chance for 10 years. So, now whether Congress is campaigning hard or not, that's for them to answer. I really can't answer. But one thing is a fact, this time, they seem to have put up some candidates who at least have some name recognition. There's Sandeep Dixit contesting in New Delhi. And there are a couple of other known names contesting. And similarly, we have put up very strong candidates. You can see the way the APDA leaders are reacting to us. By the way, this is another giveaway for this election. Traditionally, when they had people fooled in Delhi because of their fake promises, they would make wild promises and people would be taken in by it. Today, they are not in a position to make wild promises because people don't take them seriously. Women from Punjab came and in their hundreds, they protested in front of the APDA leader's house that 3 years you've been promising financial help for women, DBT, which you have not done. And again, here you are making the same fake promise. So the point I'm trying to make...
So those nukkad meetings where women are coming up, men are coming up and accosting Mr. Kejriwal and accosting Mr. Sisodia and Atishi and all, their allegation is that those are dummy voters who the BJP has infiltrated among the crowds.
Unfortunately, they will find lakhs of such people. Now, if it is 1 or 2 or 5 or 10, they can say it's dummy. There's another thing that they do, which you must have noticed, which happens again only in 2 states, that as the elections become near, suddenly they become victims. Now, whether it is in West Bengal, the leader of West Bengal continues to have accidents and incidents which she claims is orchestrated. And in Delhi also, the APTA leader keeps getting confronted and he keeps saying it's orchestrated. Actually, it is orchestrated, but it is orchestrated by they themselves because they want to try to create this hype of a victimhood narrative. As I said again, the people of Delhi have had enough of victimhood. They've had enough of fake promises. They believe that the BJP, when it says something, Modi's guarantee is, as the saying goes, it's a guarantee of a guarantee that it will get done. I've given you the data on our implementation. And they want conflict-free governance.
You keep repeating about the conflict-free governance. It's something that Delhiites certainly want. As you can see, I'm coughing my lungs out while speaking.
I must take this opportunity to point out that these fake APDA people, they've been talking about cleaning up the pollution. You know, they haven't given any money to their own pollution board. How fake can you get that you keep doing drama about pollution and you don't assign any money to your pollution control board? No wonder people suffer. And it's not just you and I, by the way.
What will you do about pollution if you come to power? What will you do about water pollution? What will you do about sewage? What will you do about garbage collection? What will you do about public transport? What will you do for women's safety?
Okay, those are very good questions. Number one, it starts with the intent and the approach. So the approach is we are going to first shift Delhi away from the blame game. Okay? The blame game of blaming other states, of blaming other parties for not doing your own work. We're going to stop that. You know, other opposition parties who are in government in their own states, they don't do this blame game that BJP is stopping them. They are availing of Modi government schemes and doing it. So we'll stop with the blame game. A lot can be done about pollution. Look at BJP governed states in other places. We've taken many steps. Some of the cleanest cities in the country are in BJP governed states. So we will cooperate with the neighboring states to solve water and pollution issues. We will take many steps in Delhi itself to clean up the system. We are going to come in with a huge boost in the electric vehicle scheme and with charging stations, buses, electric buses. These are all going to be very, very important. Now, these people, as I said, in the time they've been in government, they have not, the net number of buses in DTC has not grown. And as a result, there's a tremendous traffic congestion and it continues to have pollution. So we'll address all of that. Now, listen, about women's safety, there are a lot of things we can do. Here you have a problem. You have a government where it associates with thugs and criminals. Now, if you're going to be taking thousands of crores from the liquor mafia, obviously you will be in cahoots with liquor mafia goons, and obviously that will raise crime. If you're going to have an MLA who is an extortionist, you know, one of the APDA MLAs is in jail under MCOCA for just like any of those dons that you see in movies or in some of the news reports who call and extort from people. Can you imagine an MLA calling and extorting money from not just businessmen, but from middle class people, from poor people whose lands he's trying to grab? This is where crime starts. There's going to be a crackdown on this. Now, this lack of coordination between state and central authorities is the root cause of most of these problems. So that is all going to be tackled. The benefits that we are, I'll point something else about the benefits. The APDA people can't make
Picking up garbage.
Of course.
Look at the mounds of garbage everywhere. Mountains. Yes.
Mountains of garbage.
That ghastly mountain. I had Gautam Gambhir on this podcast. He says that it's literally, you have to fight, beat your head against the wall. Nothing gets done. You know, it's frustrating for a person who is a voter out here because whichever party he or she votes for, the MLA is stuck, the MP is stuck. Nobody seems to be able to do anything.
So let me give you an example. At some point, I would request your cameras to go to Bansera. Now, Bansera was one of these huge mountains of garbage, right? Now, this is one thing where progress could be made because it was taken under the wings of the central government and the LG himself. This used to, I think it's about 27-30 acres, which used to be a mountain. Today, it is one of the largest, cleanest and most beautiful parks in Delhi. It was inaugurated only 2 months ago. I would request you to show that to your viewers. Bansera and it's huge, and it is one of the, I would say, the largest and best landscaped curated parks in Asia, if not in the world. This used to be a mountain of garbage only 2 years ago. So we have already done one. And when the state and the central authorities are working in coordination, we'll convert all the other mountains of garbage into a Bansera. Please show that.
Right. When we talk about women's safety, the Calcutta rape issue comes to mind. We know that when Delhi happened, that came to light. It led to such an overwhelming sense of insecurity in the country. The image of the country got damaged internationally. Women felt insecure. There were laws which were changed. Delhi is again in a state where dacoities are happening. It's getting reported. Senior citizens feel insecure. This kind of crime, the Aam Aadmi Party says that it is done at the behest of the BJP. After all, law and order is not in their control. It's Delhi police which is not in their control. So what can they do? Tell me about this now.
All right. So one of the most recent examples of fear psychosis in the public have been hundreds of threat calls to schools.
Yes.
Okay? Hundreds of threat calls to schools. This
apparently a student who did it.
Not just a student, but associated with an NGO, which happens to be associated with one of the Apda leaders' families, which has in the past championed the cause of terrorists like Afzal Guru and tried to save them from the long arm of the law. Now, you have this kind of
not
being
necessary. No, I mean somehow that doesn't pass the smell test. Parents can be doing NGO work. It's not necessary that the kid is being used. I mean, use a child?
Look, maybe parents don't use or don't use a child, but the fact is it is traced to a family which is connected to an NGO which has in the past, this whole idea of urban naxals creating chaos. Children are tools. You've seen them using children in their campaigns. Children can be tools. So that by itself doesn't exonerate them from the facts that the calls are traced to such locations and to such organizations. So I'm telling you that
the whole thing about Delhi police being in the hands of the central government not exactly solving crime, because if they solve it, then the credit might go to the Aam Aadmi Party. How does that go?
No. Again, it's that same old drama. Listen.
Something that Mr. Kejriwal accused Sheila Dikshit of at one point. I need to make that clear too.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because I was going to point that out, that, the Abda people, it has come full circle. And life comes full circle and they are having to face the same issues. Look, let me again point out. Delhi is a special case where the central and the state authorities need to work hand in tandem. Now, police is a central subject, but your district magistrates, your other civil officials, they have to work hand in hand. The police can't just act entirely on their own. For many things, they need approvals, they need clearances from district and state authorities. And if that is not going in coordination, it's very hard to work on it together. Let me say it this way. If you don't solve the root problem, the root cause, if your MLAs are the extortionist, which police will, how will it work? If your deputy chief minister is the head of the liquor cartel, organizing thousands of crores of siphoning off of money, if your CM himself has been so implicated,
the Deputy Chief Minister has just given an interview yesterday, which has come out in the newspapers today, that the entire liquor scam is actually a figment of BJP's imagination and machination, that there is nothing like that, and that it is all farce.
Listen, so the CAG report saying 2,000 crore scam is also a farce. So the fact that the High Court and the Supreme Court saw it fit that he should spend 2 years in jail without getting bail, so that all the witness reports, witness testimonies could be taken. That's also all a setup. I mean, look, who do they think? They think they're fooling people? Their whole idea is they can fool people. They can buy the votes. It ain't working anymore.
Okay, let's get into the Sankalp Patra that you talked about. Why is it coming out in fits and spurts? Why not in trickle? Why is it in trickle form? Why not at one go?
No, no. In fact, the trickle form is APDA and Congress, who had, I think, one announcement per day for a period of several weeks. Look, parties like that, they don't have any accountability. They don't have any vetting. They make wild promises which don't have to be implemented. Again, I'll repeat, the same promise that they have made for women just now, they have made in Punjab, they have made in Delhi for 3 years and they have not implemented. Congress has made promises in Himachal and Karnataka which they have not implemented. You can check our track record. We are implementing all our promises. Now, the vetting process takes time because we have to be fiscally responsible.
Vetting as in?
The vetting process,
Yeah, what?
like we take suggestions. So I'll tell you, we have had literally.
You've been 10 years in the opposition.
No,
By
no, no,
now
no.
you should have had your
No,
ducks in row.
it doesn't work like that. The way we go about it, for coming up with our manifesto over several months, we have been taking input from the public because we believe that this ought to be public driven and it ought to be bottom up, not foisted from the top. So all of our manifesto ideas have come up through several lakhs of suggestions received from the public in physical meetings. There have been hundreds of meetings all across Delhi. We've had video vans going around with Dropbox for suggestions. We've had online campaigns on social media and on toll-free numbers. So based on all that, we have taken time to come out with all these announcements. So we are making it in 3 phases. It's not a trickle. So the first phase, which was announced about 5 or 6 days ago by our national president, JP Nadda ji, was focused on all the Garib Kalyan Yojanas that we are committing. Not all, but the major ones. Today's release is the second set of major promises for youth and for several other sections.
So this one that we had, this is the Sankalp Patra that has come out. And here you have सरकारी शिक्षण संस्थाओं में दिल्ली के ज़रूरतमंद छात्रों को केजी से पीजी तक मुफ्त शिक्षा, which is kindergarten से post graduation तक मुफ्त शिक्षा.
Yes.
Now, what does this mean? ज़रूरतमंद का क्या मतलब है? सबको नहीं मिलेगा ज़रूरत. What criterion for ज़रूरतमंद?
No. So there are well-established criteria for the underprivileged. So in one of the problems that Delhi especially has been facing is that despite this all propaganda about education reform under APDA, that's not been the case.
So you're going to shut down the schools by the
of course. See, the APDA has been making a fake argument that we are going to shut down the
Mohalla clinics.
Not just that, the schemes that are already running, various schemes that are already running for the people of Delhi. Now, the Prime Minister himself has made it clear. Our Home Minister has made it clear. Our National President has made it clear. I'm making it clear to you that no Garib Kalyan, Jan Kalyan Yojana, which is running today in Delhi, will be shut down. Let's make it clear. Number 2, we are going to do it better. We'll do it corruption-free. We'll make sure it reaches everybody. So, the benefit given to women in the public transport sector is mostly meaningless because DTC has only about a third of the buses. We are committing to take DTC's bus strength fully up to full spec and make sure that the benefit truly reaches people. Now, the education, you've heard of the classroom scam that the APDA people have run in Delhi. Now, this whole fake propaganda by getting endorsements from various people and organizations doesn't pass international media, Soros funded,
NYT.
Soros supported setups. It doesn't pass the smell test. You can't just pretty up one school and try to pretend that all of Delhi has been improved. It hasn't. There are a lot of government schools which are suffering. The underprivileged need to be given that boost. And the underprivileged in government schools will
when
get
you
this
put
benefit.
Mr. Sisodia in jail, students came out weeping and crying because you had put their the mascot of education
when he came out and when the APDA leader came out, why were there just only about 100 people to receive him and not 10,000? The reality is, you can try. Look, if you're good at orchestrating drama, you're good at hiring a few carfuls of people to come and do drama. That's one thing. But people of Delhi have had enough of that drama.
You said that the government, that the Prime Minister has said, the party has said, and you are saying also that none of the Garib Kalyan programs will be taken away. Mr. Kejriwal turns around and says कि अगर आपकी promises चलाने हैं, आपके ही programs चलाने हैं, तो फिर why do you need a copy which is the BJP original? क्यों नहीं vote करते आपको?
Okay, so this deserves a proper answer. Now, first, the Apda fakester has to make up his mind. Some days he says that all these schemes are going to be stopped by the BJP. Other days he says that BJP is copying his schemes, what you just said. So this odd even doesn't work. The odd even didn't work in pollution control, nor is it working in these allegations. So first let him make up his mind. Is he saying that we're going to stop the yojanas, or is he saying that we're going to copy his yojanas? The answer is none, neither. The answer is our yojanas are not copies of his for a simple reason. I'll give you 3 reasons. Okay? What we say, we do. Again, let me repeat. Ladli Behan in Madhya Pradesh, Subhadra Yojana in Odisha, and all across the country, we have made this similar promises to women and implemented each and every one of them. This guy has faked and cheated the people of Delhi and Punjab by promising it, not doing it. Now, we're different. We've been doing this for quite some years, and he's not done it at all. So if anybody's, it's ridiculous to call us as copying. Number 2, ours is fiscally responsible. We don't make commitments without taking into account that the budget can sustain it. Now, he's fiscally irresponsible, because Delhi Jal Board has gone into the red, no audit in 7 years. You know that the discoms are owed more than 26,000 crore rupees that they are not getting paid. Delhi itself, the government itself, is in the red for the very first time. So second difference is we are fiscally responsible. Third, and most important, it's going to be corruption free. Now, all of these so-called schemes that Abda has been running and promising, they don't do anything unless they can make a few bucks out of it. Under the Modi government, the Prime Minister, you remember his famous saying, na khaunga, na khane dunga. That has to be brought to Delhi as well. Delhi has not benefited from that approach because we will do it corruption free, as has been done for lakhs of crores of rupees all across the country using DBT, using technology, and using a last mile approach. Give it to everybody. So there is no question of anybody using subjectivity to extract rent from beneficiaries.
When you say fiscally responsible, there are many in the middle class who say, oh, okay, which means that freebies will not happen because freebies means a pull on the economy. So, वो fiscally responsible middle class के साथ click करता है. But the poor, when they hear fiscally responsible, they think, oh, free electricity gone, free transport gone, free education gone, free ration gone. All this is gone.
I think the Apda propaganda has got to you. Let me clarify. Ask the women and the poor in Madhya Pradesh. Have these freebies gone away, or have they been getting welfare schemes? Ask the people in Odisha. Ask the people in Haryana and Madhya Pradesh. It's not the case. So, fiscally responsible, it has to be.
Yeah.
Look, the BJP government also runs major welfare programs. I'll repeat again, the grain scheme, the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana, which is food aid to 800 million people. This is the world's largest food aid program. Why is it fiscally responsible? Because we've had huge quantums of grains stored, much of which was getting lost to rats and to wastage. Rather than waste it, better to give it to people. So it's fiscally responsible. It improves living standards, improves their disposable income, improves rural consumption, improves the economy.
So we don't have hungry people
anymore.
But that doesn't mean that we don't have vulnerable people anymore.
So we have made dramatic differences to the vulnerability of the poor in the states that we govern. Look at what's happening in Odisha in just these last 7 months. Look at what has happened in Chhattisgarh over a year, 14 months. Look at what has happened in Madhya Pradesh. Maharashtra has had political instability. Give us the full 5 years. You'll see how it will be turned around. But look at how these people have governed. Look at how Apda has governed Punjab. What a mess it is. Look at how they have governed Delhi. What a mess it is. So let me again make it clear. Being fiscally responsible does not mean that you are anti-welfare for the poor who need a leg up. And they don't have to be at odds with each other. It is not either or. If you have high growth rates, remember, India today continues to be, even this year, the highest growing, fastest growing large economy in the world for now several years in a row. Now, this has been made possible by the policies of the Modi government.
You know, I wanted to restrict this podcast just to Delhi, but then since you brought in Orissa twice, I'm going to talk about it. You talked about these schemes making a difference. In Odisha, there is still extreme poverty, which is like kind of shocking. I have been to your own constituency when I covered when you were campaigning the last time I was there. You still have houses where it's thatched huts. You still have houses without running water. You still have houses जहाँ पे पहुँचने के लिए पगडंडियों पे चलना पड़ता है, no पक्का roads. You still have a situation where recurring floods, recurring typhoons and stuff like that causes incredible amount of damage. I understand natural disasters very difficult to cope because you're in the coastal area. But what happens is that paddy crops khatam. You're talking about vulnerability to a great extent.
So let me explain. Now, many of the Modi Sarkar Yojanas were not getting implemented in Odisha, which was very tragic and unfortunate for the poor people in Odisha. Two things. The Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, which gives houses to the underprivileged. As I told you, more than 35 million, nearly 40 million houses have been built for the poor. In Odisha, the track record was poor because like when BJP was not governing Odisha for many years, like in some other states, the Odisha government and in West Bengal and other places, they were trying to do a little something very unethical about it. They were trying to put their own stamp on it and market it as if it was something which was a state government scheme. They were doing that with the grains. They were doing that with the homes. Now, because they got caught, they could not pull it off. They decided not to do it for the people. The Ayushman Bharat, the healthcare scheme, was not implemented. When I said today 2 states are not taking it, earlier 3 or 4 states were not taking it, including Odisha. Now Ayushman Bharat has been implemented once the BJP came into government in the state of Odisha. Let me complete. Let me complete. So the Ayushman Bharat was not implemented in Odisha. You have seen in coastal Odisha many thatched huts. It's a tragedy because for years we kept saying, here are the Modi government funds, please take it, do it. But if you are not going to do it unless you can make a buck out of it, if you are not going to do it unless you can falsely put your branding on it, then obviously they were not doing it. So in 7 months, there's been enormous correction. Give it the full 5 years, you will see a huge difference. A large number of houses have been committed by the Prime Minister himself for Odisha. You're going to see all of them implemented in Odisha. And similarly, let's bring the conversation back to Delhi.
Okay.
Now, in Delhi, many of these schemes are simply not being, just yesterday or day before, a section of the population accosted the APDA leader because of their obstructionism for not implementing the housing projects that the Modi government has been offering them to complete and give it to slum dwellers. So, if you avoid tens of thousands of crores of central government funding, obviously the citizens will suffer. Obviously the people will suffer. That has to be corrected. And when I say conflict-free governance, it goes to the root of that.
The Ravy Culture accusation, where the Aam Aadmi Party says that for several elections, Prime Minister went on saying, ye Revdi hai, and now they have ultimately figured out that this Revdi is something that needs to be given anyway. So,
listen, I've answered this, but maybe I didn't get across. So let me
just the word Revdi is something that they are going on repeating.
No, let me explain.
In all the election nukkad meetings, where they are saying that the BJP has come around to the Kejriwal model. Of giving free, because this whole thing you have to fishing, sikhao, all that thing didn't work. Ultimately, it's the Revdi that work. Modi ji jo hai, wo usi path par chal rahe hain jo Kejriwal ji chal rahe the.
I can see that their propaganda is very strong. So even when I have answered the question, sometimes it doesn't get across. Let me try one more time. Please give me a chance to properly explain. Look, the Modi government believes in both being fiscally responsible as well as welfare programs to the underprivileged so that they are brought into the mainstream. 250 million people have been raised out of poverty during the Modi government's efforts because they've got things like food aid, they've got things like housing aid, and we have got high growth rates. Okay, the highest in the world for many, many years now. So both are compatible. It's not this or the other. Now let's come to the Ravy thing. So it's established that we do welfare programs without corruption on a massive scale, giving it to, every last person. Now the difference is this. When he talks of Ravy, what does he do? He talks about waivers which takes the institutions into the red. Again, let me repeat. Delhi Jal Board has gone into the red, and in the name of Ravy, people are getting this very dirty water which they cannot drink. Now, DTC is in the red, and in the name of Ravy, the majority of the beneficiaries are not getting the benefit. There simply aren't enough buses. Okay? What is the difference in the welfare programs that we do? They are win-win. Okay? Let's take, for example, the Ayushman Bharat scheme. Now, the Ayushman Bharat scheme is originally 5 lakhs per household per year. In Delhi, it's going to be 10 lakhs. Why? Because the Delhi government is going to top up the funding that the central government is giving, so that it will be 10 lakhs. Why is it important? It's important because you need to ensure that the underprivileged and the elderly have a safety net. Now, this is not the Ravy culture that he's doing. Why has he denied 51 lakh people in Delhi the right to a health safety net? For the last, Ayushman Bharat has been around since 2017 or 18.
So what will you do with Ayushman Bharat in Delhi? Because in other states, I get it. They are very large states. Delhi is a city state. So you already have hospitals out here. Will you make them more accessible? Will you add extra wings? Will you update the Mohalla clinic? What is it that you'll actually do?
Answer is all of them. So let me explain that. We are going to ensure super specialty facilities in every district. Now, have you seen the condition of the hospitals?
They're terrible.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
Have you seen the long lines? Have you seen the lack of facilities? The so-called Mohalla clinics is such a farce. What did they do during COVID? And are they getting proper care? Have you heard that due to the fake medicines given in Mohalla clinics, several children have died? Your viewers need to know that. Now, we are going, the funds are lying idle because of his politics, because of Apda's politics. So, with Ayushman Bharat available, the funding cycle is going to get closed so that people can even go to private hospitals and without having to have their own personal expense, they get the facilities. So the imbalance between supply and demand gets taken care of.
So who pays for that? Like he's saying senior citizens ko free milega, above 70 ko free milega. There are several of them. So what are you going to do?
It's already working for hundreds of millions of people all across the country. It's the world's largest health insurance scheme. You hear about Obamacare and you hear about other such schemes in the rest of the world which are lauded. Now, this is much larger than any of them. And it is, again, fiscally responsible. It is budgeted in a manner that it doesn't take the budget into deficit.
Okay. The other thing that happens is that the OPD lines are so long in the hospitals, and many of these hospitals turn away people who come with their Ayushman cards. It's a known thing.
Because there is no Ayushman Bharat program in Delhi because the people have not implemented it.
Even otherwise, when the...
not otherwise. No.
For example, if somebody has a CGHS card, right? A retired government officer has a CGHS card, reaches the emergency. There was like, is it emergency? Is it not emergency? So what is happening is that there is the insurance aspect of it.
So let me explain.
So there are so many complications involved in healthcare.
There's no complication. It's very simple. You have government hospitals where they haven't added to the facilities, so they are overcrowded.
Yeah.
You have private hospitals which charge market rates, which not everyone can afford. Now, those who desperately need it, who are underprivileged or elderly, they are not necessarily in a position to go to private hospitals. So they have to wait in line at the under-equipped government hospitals. Yeah. So we're going to address both sides of the problem. Like I've said, the government hospitals will be expanded. The more medical colleges will be brought in. We will have super specialty facilities in every district. So this congestion is going to get eased. Secondly, with the Ayushman Bharat insurance scheme, when it is spread out over hundreds of millions of beneficiaries, the cost to government becomes very reasonable. And these people, if there continues to be any overcrowding in any facility, they can go to another empaneled private hospital and they don't have to pay market fees. They pay from their Ayushman Bharat, 10 lakhs a year benefit. Okay. So it's very simple, really. You unclog the overcrowding at the government facilities and you give them the financial ability to go to private hospitals. So that solves the problem.
Okay, so we've dealt with education, we've dealt with transport, security, that you have talked about. When you talk about, we even spoke about the Purvanchal voters. We spoke about, when we come to that, we spoke about the Muslim voter. Now comes the whole thing about Hindu voters, right? There is nothing called a Hindu voter. He gets divided, or she gets divided as per caste, as per region, as per all these things. Now, Arvind Kejriwal just the other day made this comment about Ravan and about Sita, and then your party came out in defense and said that he doesn't even know the story of Ramayana. He's a Chunavi Hindu. Earlier, he had said that he is an agnostic, if I'm not mistaken, and not an atheist. He's agnostic, but he has learnt the Hanuman Chalisa. He goes and recites the Hanuman Chalisa. The BJP turns around and says, "Ye Chunavi Hindu hai." Now comes Manish Sisodia, who says that BJP itni jhat se Ravan को डिफेंड करने में लगी है. This is a Ravan party. It's become the theatre of the absurd when it comes to the how the Hinduism is being used now as a metaphor.
This is not a new thing, because people who believe in vote banks, they're cynical. They try to exploit the emotions of these people. So this Chunavi Hindu is not a new thing. It's not just about Abda. If you look at the Congress leader just before every election suddenly discovers Shiv Mandirs, turns up and does all kinds of wrong incantations. And these people are very clear that during elections, suddenly they have to start pandering to what they consider is a Hindu vote bank or a different vote bank. People in Delhi have had enough. The BJP doesn't believe in pandering. The BJP believes that we must, I've already explained that in our governance, we have already demonstrated that there is no discrimination. Can't find a single example of anybody being discriminated on religion or any other factor. So the fact is, whether it is Hindus, and of course Hindus are the majority of the people, they look for a Bharat that is a Naya Bharat. They are looking for a new India, which you are seeing all over India, all over this country. You are not seeing it in the capital. You have not seen infrastructure built up, especially in the last decade. These potholes that we talk about, this dirty water that we talk about, we talked about Purvanchalis. One of the greatest cultural, socio-cultural, religious things that binds Purvanchalis together is Chhat. Now, they revere water bodies. They revere the Yamuna. These fake promises for 10 years is what a mess it is. On the other hand, look at our track record. Look at what Modi ji did to the Sabarmati riverfront in Gujarat. Today, it's a world-class facility for tourism, for commerce, just for people to take a stroll. It is so beautiful.
Yes.
Now, look at the Kumbh Mela that is going on in Uttar Pradesh, another BJP governed state. Look at the massive scale on which it is being organized. And it's impressive. Now, here, if you just treat that the Purvanchalis are to be just exploited, which is what Abda has been doing, making fake promises, or during elections, suddenly it discovers Hinduism and goes and starts pandering to Hindu sentiments. I think people have seen through that by now.
Let me talk about you towards the end of the podcast. Election strategizing, you've been doing this. You did it for Assam. You've done it with Delhi. Why have you been picked by the Modi Shah government to do this? What is your expertise?
I must first emphasize that I'm part of a team. I and the BJP benefit from the following things. First of all, the Prime Minister's immense popularity and credibility. Again, let me repeat, survey after survey shows him the most popular leader in the world. And when the Prime Minister says this is a guarantee, and it's a Modi's guarantee that this guarantee will be implemented, that is a huge part of the strategy that you call, because how much other parties have to struggle to convince people that they're serious when their track record is one of fakery. So this is one aspect. You've looked at our former party president and today the Home Minister, who's strategizing, has seen the BJP grow in leaps and bounds to become the largest party in the world, the largest political party in history with crores of members. We benefit from that. If you look at party president Nadda ji's relentless work to motivate karyakartas, it's important because the BJP does not turn up to people's homes only during elections, which many parties do. Many parties just turn up during elections. They offer some promises, most of them fake, and they try to win elections on that vote bank mentality. Our people reach out in their lakhs and their crores, year in, year out, every month, every week. Every week there are at least 2 or 3 big outreach programs. Sometimes they are social in nature, as during COVID. We helped hundreds of millions of people during COVID. We helped them, those who were incapacitated, delivering food at their homes, running community kitchens, organizing oxygen when there was a shortage in the initial stages, organizing medicines. We do political outreach programs. For example, our membership drive, which took place over a few months, has seen us go well over 100 million, 120 million, more than that.
So in this, our people, are there RSS people also who have come in from other states and helping you in the election campaigning?
No. The RSS is a cultural organization, and we have...
Mr. Panda, please.
No, let me explain. No, it's worth... No, don't. Let's
are
not
they not part of the election strategizing and campaigning?
The BJP does its own election strategizing, and the Sangh Parivar does its own activities. Again, they do it round the year, and they reach out to people on their own because they are planning and they are trying for a developed India, for a united India in their own way. Yes, we certainly take inspiration from them. We certainly take advice from them, but we run our own campaign.
So, Mr. Parvesh Verma was here, and he said that the Aam Aadmi Party has brought in people from Punjab, and they are working out here. They are not part of Delhi AAP, but they're sitting here, they're parked here, and they're parked in my constituency, and they're working round the clock and things. But your party also has people who have come in from different states.
There's a difference. Let me explain why. Now, the APTA people, because of their corrupt deals in Punjab, have got wheeler dealers, people associated with liquor mafia, people associated with their own license Raj system in Punjab who are coming here to try and buy votes. Look at the people who have come for us. They are ordinary BJP karyakartas from districts, from blocks. Yes, they have come here. They are not staying in lavish places. They are staying with other karyakartas. They are going door to door distributing pamphlets, helping our people.
Okay.
And they are organizing our karyakarta meetings. They are not necessarily in public. They are organizing our karyakarta meetings, discussing the manifesto so that everybody is clear about it, the Scalp Patra, discussing our pamphlets and brochures. So that's a different legitimate election kind of activity which is permitted until the last 2 days of the election.
Now, in all your Sankalp Patras, there is Modi ji on every picture, not a single picture of who could be, or if we were to guess, who could be your chief minister candidate. As they keep saying, the Aam Aadmi Party says, inke barat mein dulha kaun hai, ya dulhan?
Thank you for that question. I'm going to enjoy answering this one.
Okay.
Now, first of all, the shoe is on the other foot. Because first, they have to answer who is the leader of their team for 2 reasons. The person who used to be chief minister, who spent many months in jail, has been released under certain rather strict conditions by the courts. He can't be chief minister. He can't go into the CM's office. He can't sign CM's files. So he can't be the chief minister, although he's trying to pretend otherwise. Now, he has already insulted women by calling their woman chief minister as temporary. So first, the APTA needs to answer who is going to lead their team. They don't have an answer. Second, our track record is very clear. For now, a decade now, not just in Delhi, but all across the country, we've had collective leadership in the states. Now, you've covered Odisha, my home state. Did we not have collective leadership?
Yeah.
You've covered so many places. Even where we had sitting chief ministers, we've had collective leadership. And we are a democratic party. The party which took one day's tea seller and makes him into a historic 3-time prime minister who is now the world's most popular leader. In this party, karyakartas are able to contribute, show their talent and rise through the ranks.
And dare not show ambition, huh?
That's not true. Look, it's all right to have ambition, but ultimately the party takes a decision in consultation with karyakartas, and these decisions have helped us. We have grown and energized because of these kind of decisions. Look, let me end by saying this. Has our collective leadership at the state level for the last decade, has it not worked? Have we not won the majority of the states? Did we not win Chhattisgarh? Did we not win Odisha? Did we not win Rajasthan? Did we? So,
How can I refute you on
so the
that?
question is,
Yeah.
in Delhi, the people recognize that our collective leadership system works. And like I said, they're ready to bless us and give us a chance. They've tried the others and have been fooled by them.
In the country today, we have one woman chief minister. Could you not have projected one woman as your chief minister candidate?
We have been following an approach which works. The approach is its collective leadership. By the way, in Delhi, we traditionally used to have one woman MP. This last time in the last elections, and I had been involved as the in charge of Delhi, we put up two women and both of them won. This is a party under Modi ji's leadership which finally passed the Women's Reservation Act in Parliament. And in the next election cycle, at the national level, you're going to see that come in. So we certainly look for encouraging women, look to encourage all sections of society. Ours is a party that took a simple tribal woman from a remote part of Odisha and made her the president of the country. We certainly have a track record. So that
there
all
was
sections, including women, can aspire to.
So there were a lot of speculation that you would either have Smriti Irani as your chief minister candidate or Meenakshi Lekhi, both of whom have, one didn't get a ticket for the 2024 election, the other one lost, or even give a ticket to Nupur Sharma. Why these three women did not fight the election of 2025 Delhi?
Speculation is your job. My job is to reiterate that we take into account consultation from our karyakartas all across from every section, and we promote every section of society, especially women. You've seen that in our track record. And we are very convinced from the response we are getting that the people of Delhi want to see a BJP chief minister. And it will be a very good BJP chief minister. And our commitment is that in the very first cabinet meeting of the new government under a BJP chief minister, we will pass all these important resolutions that we have committed to.
On that note, thank you very much and wishing you all the best for the elections.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching or listening to this edition of the ANR podcast with Smita Prakash. Do like or subscribe on whichever channel you have seen this or heard this. Namaste. Jai Hind.